hummingbird sighting. Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. We are the Over It crew. I'm Tara Setmayer. We've got Julie Roginski, JoJo from Jurors, my girl, Michelle Kinney. And it is a lovely, no humidity Saturday here in the DMV, as people affectionately call the DC area. So I said, what? No humidity in August? I'm going to come outside, and we might even have a hummingbird sighting. Our hummers are around. Hannah, Haley, and Harper are our 3 hummingbirds, and I think there's a 4th. I think I might have seen a 4th yesterday buzzing around, so we might get a sighting. Guys, it has been a week. It's been a week for all of us in different ways, and so much so that last night I did Don Lemon at 5:30. He's like, hey, can you come on and just like kind of talk about this batshit crazy day and week? I was like, sure. I was drinking bourbon at 5:30 yesterday. Okay.
That kind of week.
That's the beauty of the internet. They don't have the same rules about drinking as cable news does. So it's
correct. And I am not going to say what may or may not be in this coffee mug this morning. I don't know.
Cable news might be improved if they allowed a little happy hour.
Listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be all down for Ali Velshi having a bloody right now. Let me tell you.
Right. Oh my God. Listen, I know Michael Smirkanish. He's a friend of mine. I did a show last week. I've guest hosted his radio show. Michael loves a good beer and cigar at every day. Like he's and he drinks scotch too, I believe. I believe he does drink scotch when he smokes his cigars. So he should do that on his show.
We should have like a boozy
we
happy
definitely
hour.
should. We definitely should.
And everybody should be encouraged, if they drink or not, to bring something. If you don't drink alcohol, bring a poppy or something.
Right. I just want to give a shout out to CJG. Good luck with your mammogram. Thank you for sharing that. That's what you're doing today. We love that. We love that. We love that. So I just want to give a shout out.
And in solidarity with your pancake boobies, because
which was also on the agenda this week for Joe. It was Michelle the week before. I turn 50 next month, so I'll be due I'll be up in the pancakes boobs.
Whoa, you haven't had that? It's supposed to be 40 and over to get that done.
Oh no, I've had them done. I mean, but it's been about 5 years since I had the last one.
Oh,
so,
Tara.
I'm not concerned. I will go. I have no history of breast cancer in my family. There's no history of cancer in my family at all. And so, for me, every couple years is, I don't need to go as often as other people. So I'll be fine.
I'll just say that I know a couple of people who have absolutely no family history whatsoever and had aggressive forms of breast cancer at young ages. So I'm just saying. I've been clear so
far. So
everyone should stay on top of it. Everyone should stay on top of it.
Just put it out there too now, because they're realizing a lot of the time, and this is not about your pattern, Tara, your history, but for anyone going now, I didn't have one this time, which I thought was odd, but they do recommend an ultrasound for a lot of
who have dense breast tissue. Yeah. I got one this year as well. It was the first time I'd ever done that. But the third mammogram, in general, but the first time they'd done the ultrasound. And I do have to say, I want to thank the doctors or radiologist at Weill Cornell in New York City for warming the little gel.
Oh yeah, it helps.
Yeah, it's because there's nothing worse than cold, ultrasound gel.
So I did an ultrasound, not this past year, but the year before, and they actually found something, nothing bad, but they put a little marker in there so that they can report next time, which I did not know they did. So I'm actually overdue. So thank you for reminding me. I have to schedule it. It was supposed to be done in August, and it takes forever in New York to schedule them because
it does. I usually, if I ever have to reschedule, luckily I do feel like because of that though, there's always cancellations, so you can get on a wait list or keep calling back, and you can usually get in that day or the next day because somebody's always canceling or something. So at least there's that.
I was very encouraged, and it was funny because some lady, one of the trolls, was like, "You should have made an appointment." I'm like, "You have to make an appointment. I don't think they have walk-ins."
Yeah, they don't have walk-in mammos. Like, what are you talking about?
No, it's not right. But it was absolutely packed. I waited for almost 2 hours. The ladies were like, "It's never this busy." I'm like, "Well, that's good." Right?
Yeah, that's
right.
Actually, I stand corrected. It was 2022. I was just thinking about that. It was 2022.
All right.
That's not as bad.
Actually,
5 years.
I think over 50, it's every year, but I don't think it's every year before that.
No, it's not.
I thought it was.
Well, yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna stand top of you, Tara.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be. What's for me is more troubling is the fact that I have fibroids. So I had fibroid surgery.
That is a whole thing. I'm so sorry, Tara.
2017 it was. So I have to have my fibroids checked all the time. So the more immediate thing is actually I have to have like a transvaginal ultrasound to go.
Those are not fun either.
Right. To see how big they've grown back, because they grow back. And so I've been fortunate enough that they weren't the type that pierce the uterus, but they're outside, but they're still annoying, and they were a problem, and they had to be removed. So I have a nice little bikini scar from that. But yeah, so now I have to go I have to go check every couple of years to see where they're at. And so now I'm due for that again. So once I turn 50, I get to do all of these things to get it all checked off.
It's happening.
Yeah. And Jessica, I just want to send you, I hope that you're doing okay now, and keep us updated, and sending you the best.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, on to more upbeat things, because we're not going to do this. It's been a week for all of us, and I almost feel like this is like a no negativity show today, because we need seriously. I do not. We just can't.
Yeah.
We have enough of this to deal with in everyday life, with what's happening with with Trump, what's going on in the world. And I mean, of course, we'll talk about it, but I want to keep it as upbeat as possible.
Yeah, I want to just say, by the way, I don't know, Tara or Julie, if growing up here, if you ever went to the Sussex County Farm and Horse Show, we call it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I grew up down the road, and after I lived in Whippany, and then we moved to Lafayette. So I literally lived basically down the road. And so it was a rite of passage. It's happening now. And Michelle, it's very much in there's tons of baby animals, everywhere. Because it's a fair, a very, very big fair, like a legit fair with all the food and rides. There's also a farm and horse show. So they have all these farm animals. They have a real legit horse show, Tara. So when you were doing horse stuff, you probably went up there for the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I went to 4-H camp. You
did?
Yes. Yeah. And up there somewhere.
Oh, I worked at a 4-H camp in Sussex County.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So and the Sussex County Fairgrounds, they have a dog show. Oh, hi, Hannah. There's one of our Hummers. The Hummers literally buzz me. Like, they come, and I can feel their wings.
Sounds like a porn scene.
Only you would turn it there, Joe, would take it there. Anyway, but yes.
This morning. I gotta go there.
Stop it. But yes, my grandmother, when we would do dog shows, the Sussex County Fairgrounds was also a location for some of I think the Sussex County Kennel Club or whatever dog show up there. And yes, and so when I was a kid, I'd be up there all the time. I believe it's been a minute since 4-H camp. I did Girl Scout camp and 4-H camp, but I think I did 4-H camp once. Yeah. I feel like it was up there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a 4-H. There are many, but there's one in particular that I worked at, which is right next to where they filmed the original Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now they're filming a TV show based on it, and they're casting, by the way. They're filming a Friday the 13th TV show there, where they filmed the movie, and they're looking for people to do it. But yeah, they're beautiful up there. And the fair
was it Blairstown where they filmed it?
Maybe part of it, but the campground itself was right up in it's like Branchville, that area. Branchville, I'm trying to think of what other towns. Frankfurt was right there. If you're from Northern Jersey, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Joe Simon knows. Joe's a Jersey guy. He was talking about going down the shore and everything else, and he just said, "Oh wait, Camp Sussex."
Yeah,
we used to have class trips that went to around there where the whole Friday the 13th thing was based, and I never went. because they were on weekends, and I was usually at dog shows with my grandmother. So I never went, and I never watched those horror movies and stuff like that because I don't like them. Right, me either. I've never seen a slasher movie and never will, because my mom told me when I was a little kid that once you see an image, you cannot get that out of your mind. So why would you want to fill your mind with those types of images? And I said that makes sense to me. I don't need it. So that was just me. So I wasn't into it.
I'm with you, Tara. I don't like scary movies at all.
Me either.
One of my very good friends,
gore and slash. I like thrillers, but I don't like gore.
Yeah, one of my good friends was in the Friday the 13th remake, and she gets slashed pretty early on in that movie in a tent, but even more so. So one of this little girl that I used to babysit, I was her like nanny babysitter, and she's still like very much like family to me. And she was like 12, 13 when I babysat her. She's like 22 now. It's like,
oh my gosh. Is that who
yeah, okay. So she's like a little movie star now, and she was in this really
very good
grotesque horror film that came out like a couple months ago called Till Dawn.
Oh, I heard of
you.
No.
She's the lead. She is the lead. God. She is the lead in Till Dawn. Her name's Ella Rubin. I love her to pieces. She the trailer sickened me. Like I was like, and I knew it was fake. I know it's fake. And like, because Ella was posting all the photos on Instagram of like her makeup on her face or whatever. But I'm like, no, I can't watch that.
Does she live?
Was that?
Did she survive?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was like, Ella, I love you. No, I'm not doing it.
I would imagine when you like see how the sausage is made, it probably takes so much of the power away. But I still can't. I just can't do it.
When I was like 12 or 13, my friend Max Fisher locked me in his room and made me watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh God.
Oh no.
And I was like, I'm still traumatized. It was so bad.
I mean, like even the Chucky movies, like I wanted no part of that.
Me either.
A kid. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
That
the Gremlins scared me. I hated the Gremlins. Scared me.
I hated the Gremlins. And they were so gross.
I was like, what is happening? And I named my Papillon, right? I had a Papillon and I named him Gizmo because they look like gremlins. Yeah. Unbeknownst to me that they turn into these monster hellions after midnight, or if they drink water or some shit, right? I forgot. And I was my God.
Mike says we're all in a horror movie right now. That is correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeez. You say that again.
I was terrified. You know what movie never left me? Never. Still to this day. It sounds you guys are gonna laugh at me. What? Signs.
That's all the Signs.
I love that good movie.
Like I lived right by cornfields then, and I was like, because I don't know, I was like,
wait, is that the one with Who Wants You To, Malachi? Is that the crazy one with no? That's Children of the Corn.
Signs is the one with Joaquin Phoenix
and Night Shyamalan.
And Rory Culkin is in it, and
he is.
He's like the little one. The other one.
I'm sure he loves that.
Right.
You mean the shit left over? That one.
Yeah. My complaint with that movie is I wish that they hadn't shown us the alien.
Yeah.
I wish that they'd like left it here.
Spoiler,
you know what I mean?
The ending is the worst part of the whole movie because of that, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it's not that I'm in fear of aliens or UFOs or AFPs or whatever they call them now. I think that they're out there, but that's really what it is.
Mel Gibson's in that too.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
I always forget about him.
Wait, I'm sorry, Joe. Can I interrupt? We have a new politically correct way to refer to UFOs now.
Yeah.
Stop. What?
Well, it's UAP. I only say this because Dave Foley is a very good friend, and Dave Foley has a podcast about this stuff. He doesn't. There's no judgment. Like they get it. Like if you say UFO, that's fine. But it's the community.
What is it? Unidentified aerial something?
If anybody knows, I don't.
I'm just curious. Yeah, you should ask Denver. Denver will know.
I love how there's literally. Are we afraid of like offending people from other planets? Is that why we're?
Well, I think with that ship has sailed. Frankly, they're like, we don't want any part of that world. It's called unidentified anomalous phenomena. Because they're not always objects. I guess. I'm not right.
Sorry to insult the anomalous phenomenon.
Which, by the way, JD Vance says he is going to start, like, actually, you know, the people in the community who know Joe Rogan, by the way, apparently saw one of these things with Dave Foley in a field. I don't know what they were doing or smoking at the time, but they encountered one. But I do think, I believe that something else can't just be us. So I think signs triggered me because I was like, oh yeah, no, they're here. But yeah, that's very funny, Mary. Well, I know.
You can say the same thing about Men in Black.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That would explain some of the people, right? They're a bunch of aliens.
Yeah.
But to a more serious point, though, like, clearly we can't be, like, self-centered enough to believe that we
Listen, what a waste of space if there's nothing
Right.
else. I mean, honestly, if there is a God or some sort of higher being, you wasted all of your magic on us. Like, I'm so sorry.
And
like,
also,
but Rosie, you gotta tell us more.
Why has nobody found, like, we haven't found anybody yet, but why has nobody found us?
Well,
like,
maybe they did, and they were like, and we're out of here. Like, that's what I think.
And this has been, like, I talked a lot to Dave about this because we have no idea some of the information that's been hidden from us. And the CIA, I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like the CIA was actually
honey, compared to what we deal with every day, this is way more interesting than Italian space lasers and whatever the hell else.
Space lasers, please.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Don't take the space lasers away from us, Tara.
Hurricane machines, but like that they part of the thing that, like, sociologists kind of analyze about this whole weirdness is that we've been, as a society, so indoctrinated to thinking that these stories are the things you'd see on the Inquirer, that they're like bullshit and just conspiracy theories. But that was by design, according to people in this community, a lot of people in this community, because they knew what they were hiding and they didn't want us to know what they were hiding. I mean, Marco Rubio, of all freaking people, and other people on a committee have talked about information that they have. Yes,
Kirsten Gillibrand has. So there's interestingly. So that's I would say that if I were an alien and I showed up in the world today, I would take one look at this shit show and I would say, to Michelle's point, I think I'm gonna go explore other planets and
other ones.
I think we should see other planets. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't want to be exclusive here.
Right.
Get out of here.
Well, the funny thing about that is, two things. One is fictional and one isn't. Oh my gosh, I did not see the tip to save the tomatoes from the squirrels. That's more for Joe. Our tomatoes are thriving this year. The little bastards haven't gotten ours, but they've gotten Joe's. So if you haven't, post it.
Yeah, and BJG, I wanted to shout out the Epsom salt thing, because I did that, which I had never done before, and I didn't get a chance last week to mention it because I saw the comment fly by, and then I went out and bought all the stuff. And I don't know if it changed anything yet, but I just did it once. But yeah, the squirrel issue is mine, and they've actually stopped ever since the Epsom salt. So I don't know.
Well, that's good. I'd never heard that. I'd never heard that.
This isn't news, but I mean, I appreciate the comment.
That's not news. Like, you're late. You're late.
Yeah.
Decaphobia, or is it dorkophobia? That's funny. But anyway, so this week, a Harvard astronomer, scientist guy came out and said that they found something that they can't explain right now, that it looks like it's on a trajectory to come to Earth. And it's like, it's has something to do with, like, it's on the same direct path as, like, the way the sun orbits or something. Like, it seems deliberate, like the path that this object is on that they have found. And they're like, I know, right? Are they coming from Krypton? Like, what is happening? Is it Fantastic Four, which I just saw, by the way, which is great? I loved it. Oh my God, you'll love it, Joe.
Really?
You'll love it. You and I are compatible.
I can't wait.
The Naked Gun reboot. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. When I opened my phone this morning, it was like, sometimes like the New York Times will give you like the highlights, and it's like, something terrible, Gaza, and like we're going to war with Russia. Naked Gun reboot. I was like,
and it got a great review in the Times. It got a great review in the Times.
Did it really? I remember the OGs.
First one was. The first one was hysterical.
Leslie Nielsen.
But what I quote from, like, memory, you could wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I can quote every line of that movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
what is funny, this side story, not such a side story that's coming out of this Naked Gun 2, is this unusual love affair.
Yes,
I know.
Liam Neeson and Pam Anderson. I love it.
Me too. I was like, I kind of love this for them.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting for her.
Me too. And him, he's dealt with a lot of trauma and pain. He lost.
I hope that he seems like he is a good person, and I have always think about how tragically his wife passed away, and how sad that was, and she's been through so much too. To both of your points as well, and it's just so you just hope good things for people, and hopefully this is a good one.
Yeah, so she was in the first Handmaid's Tale. If you ever saw that, I don't know if you guys ever saw the original Handmaid's Tale, the movie.
Yes.
She was in that, which was the first experience I ever had with that story.
Yeah, I never saw the original. Like
it's
that.
It's very good. Well, maybe I was young when I saw it, so my bar was like pretty low. Yeah.
Sammy Carter said, "I don't need horror films. I just read Malcolm Nance's books. Got me sleeping."
Legit.
Yeah. I just did Malcolm's podcast this week. I don't know when.
I saw that on the calendar. How was that?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Oh, I mean, Malcolm is a riot, and like it's never dull, and he's so smart and interesting.
Yeah.
And he was in town in DC to open a spy museum thing. They do like this like yearly spy and cocktail kind of thing.
That's cool.
And and so he was there to meet with, like, it was like a private event for people, invite only. And so he was in town because he doesn't live in the DC area. And so I was like, oh, and he had on we were joking that the scene where he was, I guess the hotel he was in, it looked like Masterpiece Theater. I was like, where's your smoking jacket? Yeah.
Jeff, sorry, Joe. Jeff, why wouldn't you go to the theater by yourself? It's like the best way to see a movie. You just
oh my God.
It's the only way I'll see movies.
Yeah.
I annoy everybody I go with, so I try to go alone whenever possible.
Yeah, I prefer it. I mean, my husband and I are big movie people, but if he's traveling or whatever, and there's a movie I want to see, or if there's a movie I want to see that he doesn't, I'll go to the movies at 2:00 on a Tuesday. I don't give a damn. I can by myself. I don't care.
I just want to real quick go back to the Malcolm Nance issue subject, because a little known story. I don't know if I've ever even told you guys this, but 2 years ago or about thereabouts, somebody called me and said they're going to kill me, and it wasn't the first time, but it was really bad. And they sent me pictures of my house, and they said they were coming and they're going to beat my head in, and I freaked out. And Malcolm Nance didn't know me very well, but he called me. He got my phone number from a friend, and he called me to go over security measures here at my house. He gave me all of this input, information, strategy, told me what to do, how to do it. He didn't know me really at all, and he took the time, and he took like an hour of his time to walk me through, and he was so funny. He's like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? And I just thought, like, this speaks to the character of this person, he doesn't and anyone out of his way to like walk me through keeping myself safe here at home. So that's a really scary, not horror movie scary, but
that's like real life scary.
Yeah. Can I divert for a second, because Sue Bone has a question? What's a mystery is why no one is talking. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Why no one is talking about or trying to find Katie Johnson. So actually, I can answer that question. If you guys remember who Katie Johnson is, to refresh, there was an allegation by somebody with a pseudonym Katie Johnson who alleged that she was trafficked to Donald Trump by Jeffrey Epstein, and she filed a lawsuit, and then she withdrew the lawsuit, and then she filed the lawsuit, and then she withdrew the lawsuit again because she claimed she was scared for her life. And I have an answer as to why nobody wants to find Katie Johnson. It is not up to us to tell these survivors to come forward.
Yeah.
They have been through the fucking ringer. Sorry, Dad. Yeah. And the reality is that if they want to come forward, they know how to do that. But if they don't want to come forward and are in hiding, then far be it for any of us to sit there and tell them that they need to do something for the good of the country when they are deeply traumatized, deeply terrified, understand that Ghislaine Maxwell is probably going to walk the same women that allegedly threatened to feed them to alligators. Not allegedly, she was found guilty of this, threatened to feed them to alligators, took away their passports if they wouldn't put out on Epstein Island, and otherwise threatened their lives. They are living in terror, a lot of them. They have seen Jeffrey Epstein commit suicide, maybe. They have seen Virginia Giuffre commit suicide, maybe. Yeah. And the reality is that they don't want to be the next to have to commit suicide, maybe. And so I don't think that any of us should be trying to find them or trying to get them to talk. they know how to find us if they want to come forward. So I just want to say that, because I think a lot of people and I've been doing a lot of TV on this week, but a lot of people are saying, why don't they just come forward? Why don't they just speak? And I'm telling you right now,
well, I think it's easy for us to say. I think, you know, and there's several survivors who have said that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell threatened their lives. Like, basically, I mean, it was Maria Farmer, who was the older of the two sisters, who said that Ghislaine was like, you know, bless you, you go jogging down the West Side Highway. You better look over your shoulder. Accidents happen all the time. So, I mean, I really have to wonder how many of them have been killed.
Yeah,
I mean,
that made it look like an accident or something. And I just want to play this, if you guys are cool with this, because you know how I love Michael Wolff. I love his little videos. I love when he walks around his Hamptons estate and
speaking
he's like
of smoking jackets and pretentiousness.
His house, though, man, I want to live there. It is
right, and he shows us the whole property. We see the corners of his house and all his furniture and his flower gardens and everything. So this one, he is sitting in a chair, and he talks about this a little bit, and I thought it was interesting. Hold on.
I had a conversation yesterday with someone who speaks to Trump often, and in the last 48 hours or so, they had a conversation in which Trump said, "People say I killed Epstein. I didn't have Epstein killed," said Trump. And then this person said, "Well, do you think that he was killed?" And Trump said, "Many people wanted him dead." I've spent a lot of time thinking about how much of a threat Epstein might have been to Trump. But also, I wonder what kind of threat Trump was to Epstein. I know when I had a conversation with Epstein about the photographs he had of Trump with the girls who came to Epstein's house, they were sitting around the swimming pool with these girls who were topless in these pictures. And I had urged Epstein to release them. And he said, quote, "I may be a pervert, but I'm not crazy." And then he said, and this was coming from Epstein, chilling. That moment, I literally felt the chill. He said, "Trump is a man without any scruples." So what happened in that prison on August 10th, 2019, well, that is in the end the root of why we keep coming back to this story. What did happen?
It's all plausible. I'm sorry. You know? I mean, it's all very plausible. And the idea that Trump has no scruples, which is not news to any of us who've been following this sick bastard for all these years, and the warnings that we've heard, and even, you know, Mary Trump writing about it in her book about how he grew up and what a problem he was, and all of that. And he's been a deranged, maladjusted human being since he was a child. So this all tracks. And even though I said I wanted to stay away from negativity, I'm going to scare the shit out of everybody. No.
Right,
I'm just talking. I'm just saying the scaring everybody again today is a story that came out in the New Republic this morning by Greg Sargent about a leaked memo from internal in the DHS that they are looking at ways to use more military force on domestic soil. And that LA was basically a test run, and that they're figuring out ways to have more Department of Defense cooperation with DHS on this anti-immigration stuff, and that they want and guess who was the author of this memo?
Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth.
There is a Hegseth involved.
Oh,
It's Hegseth's brother. His brother.
What?
Yep. his brother, which is not got enough attention, is a liaison between the Department of Defense and DHS. And he is all up in it. And he's also a consultant to Kristi Noem. And he's in the inner circle of Hegseth. Now, we knew that his brother had been around in his career before, right? I think when he worked over at the those veterans organizations that he tanked, and all, with all the financial problems and all the other shit that was going on in those veterans organizations, he has brought him over to the Pentagon. So I encourage everyone to, if you want to scare yourselves in real life, go check out the story by Greg Sargent, New Republic. They have they got a copy of this memo, and it outlines what they're trying to do with greater Pentagon DHS cooperation with more troops and more things. And it's alarmed a lot of people because this is exactly what Trump wanted to do the first time. And the generals warned us the first time, right? They warned us. They said, this is a guy that who admired Hitler's generals, right? Minus the part about them trying to kill him, the other parts. Okay. So and this is the same guy that wanted to have the moats and alligators along the border. Well, and he's got it now. That's right.
And to shoot
him in the leg
to cross. Right. And he had people like Esper and Milley in there, and Kelly for a little while, and Mattis for a little while, who would check him on, and McMaster, etc., who would check him on his worst impulses. And now they're all gone. But this thing, Hegseth, this thing with his brother, these are the people who talk about merit-based hires, and yet they're hiring people from Fox News. That is their qualification. Hegseth is, without question, the worst Secretary of Defense we have ever had. There's lots of rumors of him leaving, bye-bye, but there's going to be 25 taint-sucking Kobe waiting in his spot. Whatever Donald Trump wants. Right. Why not his wife? I'm shocked that she's not the author of this shit. Like, it's so ridiculous.
I thought that's what you were going to say, was the wife. And I was like, oh, God.
No,
well, the wife, I know the wife. I know the wife.
Do?
I will tell. Oh yeah, I worked with him. I know Pete really well. She was.
Doesn't he have like 4 of them?
No, this most recent one.
The third.
Jen was a producer, or she was the executive producer of Fox and Friends.
Right.
So
Oh.
And she's smart. She's not a dummy, which is not what I would say about Pete. She's the brain of the operation. And so, listen.
But like Department of Defense?
No.
You know what I mean?
I'm not suggesting she belongs there. I'm saying I'm saying that she is the shrewd one in that relationship. Pete is the blowhard,
drunk.
Mistakes being Secretary of Defense for being on TV playing Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon.
She's the smarter one. Right. She's the smart. Well, look at Kristi Noem.
The woman being the brains.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine a thing like that.
In some way,
even with Ted Cruz, his wife was the more successful one.
She was a big shot at Goldman Sachs, and had to give up all of her stuff. Listen. I'm not saying that Barack Obama is not a brilliant man too, but he was a summer associate, right? And then Michelle Obama was already at Sidley Austin and had this, very promising legal career as an attorney, and then she stopped doing that too. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm going to say 2 words.
Worry about it because they're both
2 words. 2 words. Hillary Clinton.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton was the brains behind Bubba. Okay.
You know the tragedy of Hillary Clinton? She has had, in one way or another, to take a back seat to 2 very charismatic men. One is her husband, and one is Barack Obama, right?
I know, yeah.
And the reality is, she is smarter than all of them.
All of them. All of them.
And she works her, I worked with her in the Senate. I think we talked about this. She is the hardest worker on the planet. I don't care if you like her or you dislike her.
Yeah.
That woman is a nose to the grindstone hardest worker I've ever seen. And the fact that she had to effectively not lose, I would say, but the fact that she had to be subsumed first by her marriage, and then second by this guy who came out of nowhere, who was deeply charismatic and an inspirational figure, much like her own husband was. It's kind of the tragedy of Hillary Clinton's life to me, because talk about somebody who was the person that is told, if you really work hard and you play by the rules, would be the next president of the United States. She worked really hard. She played by the rules.
And sitting in her seat in law school with men whispering over at her, being like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. You're taking a place from a man and who's probably in Vietnam right now, and it's your fault. I mean, that's how it all, even her legal part of her life started that way. And, you know, she has had to, I think about the time period in which she came up, like I can't imagine what that must have been like.
Yeah, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg too.
Well, right.
Incredible story.
Exactly. And, you know, if you haven't seen it, and I know I've mentioned this on our shows several times, there is a 4-part docuseries on Hulu about Hillary Clinton.
Changed me.
Please go watch it. Please go watch it. Even if you don't like her, you can't stand the sound of her voice, whatever it is, I promise you, at the end of this 4-part docuseries, you will have a newfound respect. Even if you already liked her like I do, I have a newfound respect for her. And, you know, as someone who's lived in New York my whole life, she was our senator. And let me tell you, like, people loved her. People loved her. The dairy farmers, like, I mean, like, she was a workhorse, to Julie's point. Like, she worked so hard, and I really do believe that she deeply cares about people and their well-being. And there's a reason why people who work for Hillary Clinton will drop everything to go work for her again. You know what I mean?
They love her. The Clinton people in her Senate office were, first of all, she hired literally the best and the brightest. She had a great eye for talent and really just got the best, smartest people to work for her. And they loved working for her in ways that I think nobody loved working for senators before.
Yeah. But I mean, I totally agree. Hillary should have been herself more, but like, again, like this is where you go back to the time that she came up where all she was told is to not be herself and to be this other version of herself her whole career. And so she did that and then finally got her moment in a time when people were more, you know, craving authenticity from. So it's like, and she'll be the first one to tell you, like, I'm not a charismatic politician like my husband. I'm not a charismatic politician like these other, like, I'm not, but I work really hard. I work really hard. And, you know, that's her unfortunate, you know.
But I agree with the last comment from Elia that there were the Brooklyn hipsters and like that. People she surrounded herself with in that campaign didn't do her any favors. And, you know, and Julie, you can probably attest to this too, that like she was told, like Bill tried to give her advice of what to do. And one of the first things he told her was, do not put your campaign headquarters in Brooklyn. Like he was like that. Don't do that.
I thought that was strange. Yeah.
And also the idea of her campaign slogan being "I'm with her" was the wrong thing to do because it's
so bad. I'm with her. Bad. No, she's with us.
She's with us. That's right. Like, you know, I'm with you or whatever, but not
she's
about
for you.
About her.
Right.
Like he was trying to, and she, because she had had the back seat to him for so long, that she was very reluctant to listen to his advice. You know, he is a gifted politician and he knows how to connect with people. And she was like hell bent on doing this without him. And it hurt her. It hurt her because there were just certain things they could have done differently that would have made a difference. Now, you're also battling 30 years of, and I was part of that, of demonizing her and the Clintons and Fox News and everybody. I mean, they were you know, public enemy number one.
And all kinds of stuff, right?
And the fact that the Republican Party itself was drifting because in many ways she was a woman, but for millions of reasons, right? Drifting towards embracing this strongman shit. I mean, they were already on that track and they had plenty of off ramps, plenty of opportunities. I mean, that binary choice existed, but it should have been over for them when he mocked the disabled reporter. But by the time the Access Hollywood tape, which I foolishly was convinced it was over at McCain, and it wasn't.
I know, me too.
Access Hollywood dropped. Like they were all still there. There were a couple of them had some reservations, but like it's the perfect storm, right?
This is it. This is the one people have been asking.
Oh, there it is. Yes,
it's called Hillary.
I will tell you.
I'll be the first one to admit, as someone who was on the other side and part of that demonization of the Clintons for so long and be caught up in all of that, that after that election and watching that documentary, it humanized her and put a lot of who she is in context in ways that I think many of us, particularly women, and women who are in a male-dominated field like we are in politics and everything else, and strong women, like it struck a chord. And I have a whole new respect for Hillary, and I'll be the first to admit that I was very wrong about her on a lot of things. And that documentary, too bad more people didn't see that side. That's true.
Well, I will tell you, the devastation for her in some ways is her husband is truly, I don't know if you guys have ever been around Bill Clinton. He is truly the most charismatic politician I've ever met. Except one. You guys are going to fall off your chair when I tell you who the most charismatic person I've ever met is, which doesn't mean that I like him. Actually, he sucks. Actually, he's evil.
Are you going to say Lindsey Graham?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh, yeah. I've heard this. I've heard this.
Yep. He
was educated here, wasn't he?
But he just
that is shocking to me.
Yeah. He just exudes charisma one-on-one in ways that you're like, oh my God. And then you're like, oh my God, I forgot you are who you are. I know. This is, as I said, this is not to say that he, by the way, no, Lindsey Graham, the opposite.
I was like, who's
I have spent some quality time with
I could think of?
Lindsey's giving off good vibes. They ain't charm.
No. No.
But I met Netanyahu when he was not prime minister, in between his prime minister stints. This is like going back 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very.
That's very shocking, Julie. That's very shocking because he doesn't give that. Like, I mean, when I see him on TV and stuff,
he doesn't. But you know who actually is totally not charismatic, although he gives that off on TV in person? Barack Obama, the coldest.
Barack Obama.
Yeah. See, like you guys said this to me.
I know.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Don't tell me that.
Nope, not at all. Not. I mean, publicly, he's great in the stadium, but not one-on-one. Very cold. Very Mr. Spock.
I like find that. I mean, it's just, it really does. Perception is reality, right? Like, I mean, it really does. And George Conway has said that his first impressions of Donald Trump was that he was very flattering. He was a very complimentary guy.
I believe that. I believe that.
On thick with the flattery and ego stroking, and like I think he's a lizard person, but like I found that to be interesting. That's his play out of the gate.
That's right. A lot of people have said that, and that's part of the con man superpower too.
Yep. It's an abuse tactic, right? I mean, it's love bombing. That's what if you know what love bombing is, like in the beginning of a relationship, usually the abuser will bomb the person with love and grand gestures and gifts and like all kinds of things, and it feels really good. So when the tide turns, so when they flip the switch, you're already so far in. That it's hard to go back or hold them accountable.
Yeah, Charles Manson was charismatic.
Listen, Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, so, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't necessarily charismatic because he had an emotional manipulation about him that drew people in. Like Michelle and I interviewed Vicky Ward on Thursday on the stakes, and I encourage folks
to go check out the episode.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm so sorry I missed that. I was just circling JFK.
Yeah, you were stuck in an airplane. It was that poor Julie. But anyway, she did a whole series on Ghislaine Maxwell called Chasing Ghislaine a couple years ago, a whole podcast, which is also very interesting. And she was saying how Ghislaine Maxwell was the charismatic one because Jeffrey Epstein really didn't. He was kind of like a weirdo guy, but he was able to emotionally manipulate people once he got them in. And it was Ghislaine Maxwell who brought them in. And so it was interesting to see because she was the socialite. She was the one who, knew all these rich people. She's the one who introduced him to Prince Andrew because she came from this big socialite. Yeah, because of her father, who was also a horrible person. But her father is another very interesting potential spy, and he was a billionaire, and he owned newspapers, and he was very, he had a yacht and a mysterious, weird guy, but also a tyrant. And so like all of these guys, they know how to manipulate people to get them to do what they want, and it's interesting the way human behavior works.
Yeah, can we just talk about really fast, since we're on this horrible subject, about the fact that she was transferred like just quietly, like nobody was
right.
I mean, maximum, like I don't know if it's maximum, but
and it was in like a slew of other. It was like Russia submarines. This.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we're moving her. Oh, and then another thing.
Not just to a lower security prison. She's in a fancy
Club
camp.
Fed. She's in Club Fed.
Yeah.
And they get to be outside most of their day if they want. They get yoga. She's getting yoga.
Listen,
Yeah.
I know
F
this,
off.
and I went off on this yesterday on Don. This is partially why I was drinking along with him. He had a margarita, and I had Denver Riggleman's bourbon. Okay, I was I was plugging Silverback Distillery and Denver Riggleman and his wife's amazing bourbons. But because, as everyone knows, I've talked about this, that I was the Aaron Brockovich of a case with these Border Patrol agents that were in prison for 11 and 12 years. And I became, unfortunately, well-versed in the Bureau of Prisons and very familiar with different levels of federal security prisons, from the maximum down to the club feds, because I was trying to get them transferred. They were in a medium security prison. Medium to had a maximum in there. They sometimes they have like different wings of this. And because of the length of their sentences, because they were 11 and 12 years, and they were accused of a violent crime. So there's all kinds of reasons and formulas that go into why you get placed in certain prisons, where you get placed, there has to be a certain distance from the victims. It's a whole thing, okay? And so it is very deliberate when you are sent to a certain level federal prison.
Yeah.
He, as a violent child sex trafficker, okay, it's considered a violent crime, was in a medium security facility for a reason. All right. And because they're considered threats to the community. The fact that what I had to go through to get my Border Patrol agents transferred out of their prisons I tried to get them, actually, not to this one, because this one's for women, but there was another one near Fort Bliss, a prison camp, because I'm like, these guys are not a threat. They're not going to run. They're not like their cases being, is in appeals. Like, it's a national case. It's a danger to them to be in these prisons because there's other violent criminals there that will try to kill them, which is actually what happened to one of my Border Patrol agents. He got beat to shit. And I flipped out because I was like, this is what I told you was going to happen to him, because he's law enforcement here. And once they discovered who he was, he got the shit beat out of him. And that's when I went to visit him in a prison in Yazoo City, Mississippi, which I hope to never go to ever again. You can keep that shit. And anyway, and I got him transferred to another prison in Phoenix, but it was still the same level. They refused to make an exception to put him in a prison camp in Fort Bliss, it's like a Fort Bliss area in Texas, closer to his family, where you didn't have violent criminals, because this is where like the corporate, the corporate folks, like Elizabeth, what's her name from Theranos, she's there. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Jen Shah, she's there in this prison camp. Like, that's the type of environment now that Ghislaine Maxwell is in. And when I saw this, I said, you've got to be kidding me. They are literally rewarding a child sex trafficking predator.
Yep.
With this.
The party that protects children. The party the party of family values. This is not only have they redacted Trump's name out of the files, now we know that.
Yes.
But now that they're the only friggin' witness we know of is in a camp with getting yoga.
That's correct.
And back to the thing about the redacted FBI files, which is crazy. Do you guys know Andrewski, the creator on TikTok? He's like one of my favorite people.
No, I don't know.
What's that?
Is he the lawyer, the cute lawyer who always gets I love him.
So there's some salty language here, so I'll just warn you there. Put the kids out of the room, but this is what he had to say about it. And I think that if he were sitting here with the four of us, we would all be in agreement.
We got to get him on. He doesn't do podcasts, but we got to get him on.
Oh.
Well. You know, one thing I can't stop thinking about was last year during the election, when all of you dull-eyed, sibling-fucking, bovine, gutter-trash, shit-breathed, vacuous, Trump-supporting fuck-chops told us we needed to vote for this orange asshole to protect the children. To protect them in sports and in public bathrooms from drag queens and immigrants and the deep state. Well, it turns out the real threat all along was the man you voted for. The one you called daddy. The man you've made your entire personality for goddamn 10 years now. You are the dumbest, most cowardly people to have ever lived. A skid mark on the granny panties of human history. And as our country burns all around us, the only thing I want to know, Sugar Bear, is how does it feel? How does it feel knowing that liberals have sneered at you your entire life, and they were
He fuck chumps.
No notes. No notes.
Fuck chumps or fuck chumps.
He's my favorite. I love him.
Yeah, we follow each other, and I once was like, "Could you come on my podcast?" He's like, "Sounds awful. No, I don't do podcasts." But great. I was like, "Damn it, he's so fuck chumps."
So is he single?
Oh my God.
So A Power, just so you know, women leave the filthiest comments.
I bet.
In his comment section, and he does videos of himself just staring at the camera, and there's like music playing, and like he puts the comments on the screen, and they are filthy, but like a lot of them are very close.
Unfortunately,
is he only on TikTok? Is he exclusively?
No, he's on Instagram. He's on
Instagram.
That's where I follow
I
him.
gotta follow him.
Oh,
yeah, so funny, so funny.
Nobody makes fun of them more creatively.
But they're really, really clever, filthy comments. But yeah,
he's a lawyer. He's an attorney.
Yeah,
very smart guy.
Do we know where he's from?
I think
he's a big
Someone
Kansas.
said he sounds like Ryan Reynolds.
He
Ryan
does. He does.
Like he loves.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a Kansas City fan, so I would always just assumed it was from around there. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
definitely. There is something to be said for the fact that these people did. He makes a great point. Did run out. So they're protecting kids all the time, and that's why we need to, like, no trans kids in sports. Won't anybody think of the children?
I'm gonna tweet about
it. You know, sometimes the most obvious answer is the answer.
Yeah.
Donald Trump weren't all over these files, they would have been released long ago.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
That's why now Doc protests too much. It's so obvious.
He's not even protesting. That's the part that kills me. Why are you transferring Ghislaine Maxwell? So I have a very good friend. Speaking of having somebody on a podcast, we should bring him on. My friend Bill is a prison consultant. This is actually what he does. And he will tell you, because he told me, that she was not eligible.
Correct.
To this prison.
That's what I'm saying. That's because of what she did.
So you need to. So she eventually could have been, but not yet. She has not served enough time yet.
No, 85%. I think you have to.
And you have to serve 85% before you're eligible for parole.
Yeah, federal.
But she also. You go into these camps if you get under 10 years. The reason people want to get under 10 years is precisely so you can go to one of these camps.
Correct.
If you get over a decade, you cannot go to one of these camps.
That's what happened to my guys, because they were sentenced to 11 and 12 years. So they were like, they weren't eligible and needed a waiver.
9 years and 364 days, they would have been. That's the part that sucks. That's why the judge screwed your guys, right? Because he didn't.
They got a mandatory minimum, so it was a gun charge, and that was a whole nother fight about mandatory minimums, which is how I got both bipartisan support for a resolution to get them to get George Bush to commute them. I had Rahm Emanuel, and he signed on to it, and like who else was on the other end of the spectrum? Like Ted Poe. You know, like people, they're not in Congress anymore, but they were like, it was like a MAGA and a liberal signed on to the same resolution because the liberals didn't like mandatory minimum sentencing, and the Republicans didn't like the fact they were law enforcement that got charged with this. So the whole mandatory minimum thing, which also opened my eyes to where that's problematic, was a very interesting dynamic to see because stuff like this, you get mandatory minimums, nothing you could do. The judge can't do anything about the sentencing. They have to do what the law says. Mandatory 10 years because of a gun charge.
And Donald Trump's own criminal defense attorney was just there for 2 days without us knowing any of those conversations whatsoever. And we're supposed to believe that this is just some kind of random coincidence.
Well, this is the thing too, where the media is shitting the bed still again every single day. So the thing about the transfer came up on my phone yesterday, and I was talking to my dad, and I was like, read this. And it was like the first or second paragraph, and it said she was visited by a top Justice Department official, blah, 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 blah. And it's not till like paragraph 3 that it says it was Todd Blanche, who was his personal criminal attorney. I'm like, this is very important context, that if the American people knew up front who these people are, and they could see the corruption, this is the most corrupt administration, I would argue, in the history of the United States of America.
No question.
And
Yeah,
again, like he's
purchasing
always
her
telling
silence.
on him. Yeah, he's always telling on himself. And that's why, and even just to bring it back to the Michael Wolff thing, he's like, people say I killed Epstein. I didn't. And I'm like, I'm sorry. The fact that you're even saying it.
Well, it's exactly like, I didn't say that I had a body buried in my backyard. Why would you ask?
Right,
like,
right.
I didn't ask, but now that you mentioned that, but what's interesting about the whole thing, which just absolutely is inescapable about the media, is they're like entertaining and humoring all of this.
Yes.
As opposed to just saying it is insane that he is moving Ghislaine Maxwell to this prison, while at the same time yesterday he said he's not going to pardon Diddy because Diddy was not nice to him. He used to Sean Combs, but Sean Combs was really working very hard against him in the election, so therefore he's not going to probably pardon Sean Combs because he doesn't like. So that means if you do something for him, he's going to pardon you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't do something for him, he's not going to pardon you. And where's that connection between Diddy and between Sean Combs and between Ghislaine Maxwell? If he's not going to pardon or do anything to make Sean Combs' life easier.
Same with George Santos.
Right. Because Sean Combs did nothing for him.
Right.
Then what's the implication here about making Ghislaine Maxwell's life easier?
Right. Yes.
He just told you what the answer is.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why every Democrat from now until the end of time I don't care what the question is on the show.
Yeah.
It should be in an interview, you should say Donald Trump is rewarding a child sex predator.
Yes.
Donald Trump is protecting and rewarding a child sex predator.
Republicans are protecting pedophiles.
And all of them
are protecting pedophiles.
And why hasn't any reporter asked Donald Trump? This is the other. Well, I mean, I'm going about this all day long, and I know we're coming up to time here. But why hasn't any reporter asked him every time he tells this lie about when he ended their relationship, with Epstein, which by the way is also disgusting when he talks about a human being, a teenage girl being stolen like she's fucking property. If that's not he lies to them every single time. He says, and that's when I ended our relationship and kicked him out of my club. But there's facts, friends. This up until 2007. We know that that's a lie. Why don't they say every time? Then why was he still going to your club up until 2007?
Why did you say good things about him? What a great guy he is.
Right. That's right.
But they don't ask him that. If they don't ask him that, they don't follow up. It's not like he's always, and for those gaggles, there are some real reporters still out there.
Yes.
But they don't ask these questions.
Well, Caitlin Collins,
ask Pauly, ask Cruz, ask Lindsey Graham, ask Marco Rubio.
Make them all answered. Every single Republican, I don't care if they're running for dog catcher, should be answering this question. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you are a local reporter in Podunk, wherever Mississippi. Like, is somebody running your district and they're a Republican? What do you are you in favor of protecting pedophiles and the rest of your party? Is your party in favor of protecting pedophiles? What do you think about Donald Trump protecting pedophiles? Like, this is the question.
Would do. I can tell you right now.
I mean, look at what they did it with fake issues. They manufactured this question with fake issues about trans kids in sports.
Oh my
and they
God,
did this with dogs and cats and immigrants. They
they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. I mean, oh my God.
Yes.
How many times do I have to be asked, what is a woman? This is what they do, right? They take an issue that's not an issue and then they force you to contend with it. So now you're on your heels having to deal with their narrative. We have the ball, friends. We have an opportunity to go on offense all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's Sydney Sweeney, right? Like that's the new shiny object now, as opposed, and this is, Fox is running 24/7, not surprised to make that. But now Democrats are being
Jane's a pass down from sorry.
Did you see Des? Did you see Michelle? Did you see Des on the Daily Show make fun of her voice?
I did.
Oh, Michelle does it even better. Michelle's better.
Oh, she is, but it was so funny to see it on the Daily Show. I was like, thank you, Jesus. But Michelle,
I've gotten more comments about my Sydney Sweeney impression than like any other thing that I've ever talked about on the show. And I just want to say to everyone, thank you.
Very good. But that's the thing.
Got to use my BFA somewhere.
That's the thing. That's the problem. The problem is that we're sitting here now having to talk about Sydney Sweeney because that's what they want us to talk about.
Yeah.
As opposed to them having to go and defend this obvious thing that is staring everybody in the face, which is, of course, Donald Trump, who's hung out with other pedophiles before.
Yep.
John Casablancas, and his own comments about the 14-year-old. at how he's going to date them, and the comment about the 10-year-old, and the comments about Ivanka, the comment about Ivanka's friends that now that she's going to be
beauty pageant.
It's going to be hard.
Michael Cohen's daughter.
Michael Cohen's
Remember
daughter.
Michael Cohen's daughter came and said how he made a comment about her. She was 15. About like what a piece of ass she was when she was playing tennis or something at the club. Like,
and Lindsay Lohan. I mean, I think she was of age, not that it matters, but like saying stuff about how she was a damaged young woman and why are they hotter? Why are they better in bed? The damaged ones. Like when he was on Howard Stern, that's how he talked about. Like, who was like 20 something, like 22 years old or something at the time.
So
it was crazy.
The point is, like, it's all right there for the taking. And the fact that the Epstein files, even though it's consuming his presidency right now, he still won't. This is so bad for him, and he still won't release them, which begs the question: how much worse is what's in there than what's happening now to his presidency? Like, of course he's in there. If he were in there, he would have released them long ago because he doesn't want to deal with this shit. He wants to move on.
Right, which is why he also can't keep up with his own lies, right? This is why the lie keeps doing this weird hamster wheel thing where it goes from, there's no files, we don't have the files, we have the files, I've seen the files, their files were created by Obama and Hillary. It's like, wait a minute.
It's a hoax though, but it's all a hoax.
Wait, where's that
in there?
Wait, hold on.
He said, we're not releasing them because we'll release what's credible because we don't want to hurt people. We don't want people to get hurt. He said that yesterday.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in there. You don't know who's going to get hurt. Who
right.
says that? Who says that?
A guilty person says that.
That's right.
Did you guys see this tweet? It's from @Sir Jeremy London. It says, he wants you to know that there is no list, but that Clinton is on it 28 times. A list created by Clinton himself, apparently, wherein he implicates himself 28 times, but it still doesn't exist. Also, when his name does appear on the non-list, it's because Comey and Clinton put it there. Like, I mean, that's the logic here. That's the logic.
Exactly. That's why I said this week on MSNBC, the MAGA math isn't mathing for his people. And the fact that the White House knows this, and they're concerned because that Washington Post poll came out that showed 43% of MAGA people, not just Republicans in general, but the MAGAs are like, they're only 43% think he's doing an okay job with the Epstein thing. That means he's underwater with his own people, which never happens. And they're concerned that this month now, when he goes out on his big, beautiful propaganda bullshit tour to sell that bill as another way to distract from what's going on, they're worried about the crowds being smaller. And that his MAGA people are going to still be mad. And they're like, what the fuck? What are we going to do?
They're going to heckle him. I mean,
quite
frankly,
they
should. And the fact that,
and if I'm the Democrats, by the way, I'm sending my own people.
Oh, hell
with the fucking Epstein stuff, and
that's how
blend
this started.
Into the crowd.
This is how this started. I don't know if you remember. So he's the first one to mention it back in 2015, right? Because he thought that he was going to be, pulling a fast one on Bill Clinton, right? Because again, and I've said this, it's like if you're going to shoot that arrow, you better make sure as hell that you're not going to get blood splatter back on yourself. But he's not that clever like that, so he does this. But like somebody held up a picture of that famous picture of them standing next to each other with his arm around him or whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody held that picture up at one of his rallies and his face went blank. And that was kind of the beginning of like people really, really knowing about this. And my guess, guys, is that whatever is in this and whatever happened, because listen, here's another thing. Donald Trump doesn't do drugs and he doesn't drink. Right. So none of this happened when he was under the influence or like, oh, I forgot about it. Like he was fully aware and sober when he did these things. Okay.
Yep.
So whatever these are, he's completely aware and in his memory of how bad it was, because I think, guys, that it is so bad. I think that it's beyond our imaginations bad.
Well, it's obviously video
with children.
And he's going to say that it was AI. He's going to come up with all this other bullshit. But the reality is this. They are so stupid that they had 1,000 agents in the Southern District of New York. Looking at all of this stuff and putting it on a shared PowerPoint, on a Microsoft SharePoint, which means that they can't say that this doesn't exist because enough people have seen it.
Yep.
When you have 1,000 people working around the clock to scour for all references to Donald Trump, that means that this is not a tightly held little secret.
And you can't tell me that somebody in those 1,000 agents isn't like, what the fuck? And this is not okay.
Well, that's how we know that they did that, right? Because we only know that they did that because people are leaking this information.
Yeah. And the other Bongino said, what I saw in there, I'll never be the same again. Now, I don't know if he's full of shit or what else, but I do think that there is truth to that.
See, here's my question, though. Here's my question just really quickly. Like, of all of those people, how could there only be a few that might be like, what the fuck? How is there not a whole slew of human beings with children and grandchildren and neighbors? And how could there not be?
Because they'll go to prison because they're federal agents and they saw this. And if they leak it,
and if they even beyond that, let's say I'm going to go to prison for this. It's worth it to me. The amount of, again, the most powerful people in the world there are I don't know, companies, but like they will pull a hit on your family. They will torture your kids until the end of time. Like they will never allow any of this to go away. Like, I mean, that's the thing. I think you're sacrificing more than yourself. I think you're sacrificing your entire extended family.
And it's like a legit cabal. Like this is like, we say that sometimes, but this is like a legit.
Right. You want to talk about Illuminati. Cabal. Like this is it.
And from the royal family to presidents of the United States, apparently, you know, it's this is like serious stuff. And again, back to just bringing it back home as we wrap the show today, it really is about the victims and the survivors here of all of this. And I defer to what they want, whatever they want.
Yep.
That's what I want.
They want the truth out. Some of them, like Maria Farmer, have been begging to see those files for years. And the fact that they don't have access to them, at least to their own part of this, I think is also really problematic. It is very interesting. And I will say this, and I put this in the Substack, but before we wrap this up, I do want to say this. The reason that Biden did not release, or Merrick Garland did not release any of these files, despite being asked, is because of what's called prosecutorial discretion, where he said, we need to keep these tight because we still might prosecute people involved in statute of limitations federally on child sex trafficking.
Good point.
So that's not the excuse that Pam Bondi is using. That would have been the easiest excuse of all. But that would imply that she's still looking to prosecute somebody.
Right.
She's not using that as an excuse, which is the best excuse of all, because people would say, okay, I get it. You're still in the midst of investigating people. You still might prosecute them. You can't release this stuff until everything's wrapped up, or until Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal to the Supreme Court is up. Like there's legitimate excuses as to why she could have said, we can't release them at this time. But that's not what she's doing.
No, she said there's no there.
Yeah. Which is
after she said they were on her desk.
Right. It's very interesting to me. Why wouldn't she use that excuse, which is actually a very good, legitimate excuse?
Yeah,
right.
Because they have made it very clear that they're not prosecuting anybody. So if you're some MAGA freak who's watching this today and you think Bill Clinton's going to get prosecuted, or Bill Gates is going to get prosecuted, or I don't know, Santa, whoever you pick your poison is going to get prosecuted, they're not. They are not. Because the minute that any of those people get indicted, they're going to demand to see all of the records as they are entitled to do.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, and Pam Bondi's passed on prosecuting this not once.
Right.
But twice.
Right.
That's right.
She was the AG in Florida.
She was the AG in Florida. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And I know we're wrapping this up, but I just want
and just as a heads up, in case, my computer is literally on 2%. So if I disappear suddenly, that's why, because I didn't bring my plug.
I got you. You know how I feel about that. You know how I feel about that. That happens to me. That happened to me in the middle of our show on Thursday when we were talking to Vicky Ward. My computer just went. I'm like, no. Anyways, I just wanted to know, and this is just a couple seconds. Did you guys see he was on Newsmax and being asked about Caroline Levitt? Did you guys see this?
Oh, I can't. It's so gross. It's so gross. Oh.
She's become a star. It's that face, it's that brain, it's those lips, the way they move like she's a machine gun. Is she in the room?
She's in the room.
She's a star, and she's great.
No, I can't.
Those lips. I'm like, what lips? First of all, what lips?
I
Second
know.
of all, her drawn on lips, but like also just like you are a 79-year-old man. Caroline Levitt is 27.
Well, yeah, but
he's her grandfather.
Yeah, but she married someone his age.
I mean, right. I was like, he is her type.
He's in his 60s. Yeah.
Right.
Her husband.
But like, I was like, she was going to the prom when you were first running for president. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
but I know.
But he's a predator. Gross. He's a predator. He's a predator.
Yes, he is.
I had this super viral video that I put out a while back, like maybe 3 weeks ago. Everything's a while back, 3 weeks ago, about Marco Rubio standing behind him while he was ogling a reporter from Africa. And he was like just dressing her down and like talking to her and like and complimenting her looks. And it was disgusting. And watching Marco Rubio's face, because he is the worst poker face of all of them.
Oh, the worst.
Like, oh my God. So he's just like, you could see his soul leaving his
body. The hair plugs.
As he's talking to a reporter and talking to her in this like predatory, sexualized, disgusting way. He is a predator. He's a predator. He's a predator. He will always be a predator. That is why all of us, everybody watching it was like, they got the ick from watching.
Yes.
He's Biff. Yes. He's Biff in 1955. Yeah. He's Biff in the wrong 1985 in that hot tub with all the ladies and their boobies out. But like that, and the writers obviously made that character based on him. But like that is him.
Yep.
To his core. And if only we could go back and take away the Gray's Farmer's Almanac from 1955 out of the DeLorean and set it on fire, we'd be in a much better place. And you know what? Jackie Kennedy's garden would still be there. Garden would still be there.
Yeah. So. We have two things not to talk about today, but for next time was that and the firing yesterday. We have to talk about.
By the way,
God,
was a woman. Okay.
Well,
it was a woman.
Before we go really
DEI, Tara. DEI.
Not like excess brother.
Right. On that, somebody just resigned from the Federal Reserve, so that means he's going to appoint another governor to the Federal Reserve.
Oh God.
And between that and what he's trying to do with politicizing the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Part
of the reason our economy is the gold standard is because unlike other countries, we do not politicize our economic data.
Mm-hmm.
If we start doing that, nobody's going to trust it. So tariffs are raising prices, and if you think tariffs are going to lead to stagflation, which PS we're already there.
Yep.
Wait until this happens.
Yep.
It's going to be depression level crashing.
Yeah. Next year when he puts somebody in instead of Jerome Powell, who's going to be
Scott Bessent. He's going to put Scott Bessent in. It's a disaster.
Well, and I even have to
down our necks and telling us it's raining. That's what's going to be happening.
Well, right. And I even have to catch myself now because like we're so conditioned as Americans, right? When we see this data coming out of the federal government to like trust it. Like, because like that's the labor statistic, like that's the jobs number. But like I had to catch myself even yesterday when that number came out. And I was like, are they cooking the books here? Like, what's going on?
Well, they just accused them of doing that.
Well, that's
when they adjusted them for the other months, right? And then they got caught, and it was like, oh wait a minute, it went from that to 73,000. Oh wait, get rid of it. You got to get rid of them.
Coming out of
the reason they do revisions is because they survey companies, and sometimes those surveys don't come back in time. That's why
the revisions part isn't abnormal, right? That happened under Biden, happens, but but there was certain anomalies in the revisions of what they're doing in this now that people were like, wait a minute, because Trump was like, fix that number. You know what I mean? And we all know that's what he does.
This is what he does. It's the find me 11,000 votes in Georgia. It's which I'm sorry is probably very close to the conversation that he's having with legislators in Texas is find me more seats. Find me more seats. And like this is what he does. This is what he does.
But
he's doing it.
I literally tweeted that yesterday, Michelle. It was just find me 111,780 jobs. That's it. Like it's another perfect jobs report.
Well, on that note, find me a plug, or else I'm gonna be gone.
Okay.
Because the computer's on 1%.
Find me some Denver Riggleman whiskey through the rest of the
I mean, like I said, I don't know, may or may not be in the cup, but anyway,
I got to get some of that. So I have a friend who's a bourbon drinker, so
we should all go
down to Virginia.
We should all go to the Riggleman. The Riggleman Ranch, or whatever,
and do a live from there.
Yeah, we'll be on this podcast coming up. So
good.
Yay!
All right. Bye, Tara.
Oh, there goes Tara. All right, everyone. Have a great
Bye,
weekend.
guys.
We'll see you next time.